Which are more low key.
Really? Wait for round two.
Okay. That's a real, it's $20.
It's been pretty lucky on the second one. All the ones that got married twice have actually got married. So also was getting married twice. And they didn't care. There was no wedding. Whereas I could understand if one person getting married twice and someone who's getting married the first time.
Right, that
they
would
want a
make
wedding.
sense.
Tim, he bought it.
Eric Brown and Eric Mosher. One of those two?
I don't know. I know Brenda, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Don't want to vote to end 3-3.
Yeah, you let me know.
You might have known.
Okay.
I know there's some.
They did some work for school.
Okay. Maybe.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Grubbs. I'm the chair of the City County Planning Board. Welcome to the August 14th, 2025 meeting of the Planning Board. At this time, would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Today's meeting is being broadcast live by Winston-Salem TV Digital Media and will be rebroadcast at 10 a.m. Friday morning and again at 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Additionally, an on-demand recording will be available on the City of Winston-Salem's YouTube channel. Before we begin this afternoon, we've got a few housekeeping items to take note of. We as a board would like to express our sincere condolences to Planning Director Chris Murphy and his family on the loss of Chris's mother, Carolyn, earlier this week. Chris is understandably away spending time with his family today, and we'll certainly keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers. On a lighter note, Planning Board Salvatore Patino and his family welcomed a new baby recently, and he's also spending time with family today. So we look forward to hearing more about the new arrival when Sal returns and express our congratulations to them. And we just learned, breaking news hot off the presses, Mr. Lamb tells us that he just had a new arrival in his family of his first grandchild, a granddaughter. So congratulations to the Lamb family. And then finally, we're happy to have Mr. Dixon Pitt with us today for his first public session as a member of the board. Mr. Pitt's replacing Ms. Mo McCrae on the board. So Dixon, welcome aboard. All right. Our first order of business today will be the consent agenda containing items for which the petitioner is requesting withdrawal or continuance, or items for which the planning staff has recommended approval and no one has signed up to speak in opposition. For our public hearings today, each side will have a total of 12 minutes and there is no rebuttal period. Once the public hearing is closed and the board goes into work session, no one is permitted to speak unless a planning board member asks them a question. The items under Section B of our agenda will require final action by the elected body, either the Winston-Salem City Council or the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. As such, votes taken today are recommendations which are considered by the elected body during their review of the requests. For general use rezoning requests, the planning board must consider the full range of uses allowed in the zoning district being requested, and the petitioner may not refer to specific intended use of the property. For special use district zoning requests, the petitioner must identify the intended use or uses of the site and give specific details on how the site will be developed. If you're addressing the board today, before you begin your comments, please give us your name, address, and zip code for the record. First item on the consent agenda is the approval of the minutes of the July 10th and July 24th meetings. Is there a motion?
Move approval. Second.
Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Leek. I almost said Mr. Grubbs, that would be weird. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? That's unanimous. And now I'm going to call on Mr. Brian Wilson to take us through the consent agenda.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. We'll go ahead and start off with our first item. That's B2. It is also an F1392 final development plan case, not to be confused with the other one we're going to be hearing today on the east side of the future Beltway. They have requested one more continuance to your September meeting. I know there's been a fair number of continuances for this item. They've been having a challenge time working with NCDOT, and several improvements is required and trying to work out kind of a complicated situation with the future Beltway and its continuation. Our next item is B1. That's case W3656. Petitioner is Gensite Development LLC. It's the Zaxby's Restaurant site plan. Requesting a site plan amendment for a GBS zone site. It is 0.97 acres located on the north side of Fairlawn Drive, and it's between Fairlawn Court, which is right here, and Silas Creek Parkway to the east of the site. Reynolds Road is further to the west. And here is that aerial. You can see the general area is largely developed. This is kind of the last quote-unquote out parcel for this site. It's already been graded. The site is accessed by two drive connections to Fairlawn. This is a right in, right out access, and this does have a left turn lane to get into the site, so you could get to either the apartment complexes to the rear or interior to the site with the grocery store and the tire shop. And this is the area plan land use recommendation map. You can see that when this was adopted in 2014, low-intensity office uses were recommended here. There was a subsequent rezoning in 2015. Staff at that time had recognized that the area highlighted in magenta here, that mixed-use area, was not actually suitable for commercial development due to some streams and other environmental features, so that effectively switched the recommendation to commercial to flip it to this side. And this is the proposed site plan. They're proposing an approximately 2,200 square foot restaurant with drive-through building. They're going to expand the parking area to the south here. This is the existing parking area. They're going to extend that further to the south and then show the internal drive aisle. All this is internally accessed to that existing east-west drive there. They're proposing an additional dumpster location here internal to the site, since they're going to have much more volume than the medical here just to the east. They are showing all required street yards, pedestrian connections, and sidewalks along the frontage, and they did work with staff to orient the building as close to Fairlawn and meet all of the original conditions regarding materials. I'm going to show you the site, or excuse me, the elevations here. And this is kind of a little housekeeping thing. You'll notice that, you might have noticed in your agenda book, that the elevations, the cardinal directions were incorrect. That's because they were in process of working with staff to orient the building in the correct way to match with Fairlawn Drive. So what's showing up is, I believe, your east elevation in your agenda book is actually the south elevation, this top elevation here. That's what's going to be facing Fairlawn. And they do show all the other required materials requirements from the original rezoning. The site plan does meet all UDO requirements, and staff does recommend approval of this request. Be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for staff? No one has signed up to speak in opposition to this item. Is anyone here opposed to this recommendation? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move the planning board find that the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Leek. Any further discussion? All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, I further move the planning board recommend approval of W 3656.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Leek. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That's unanimous as well.
Mr. Chairman, and item B3, the other F-1392 case, that's the Music Brookberry, has moved to our public hearing. So we'll move past that. And then we'll move on to item C1. That is PBR 2025-13. This is a petitioner requesting a 33-lot planned residential development in an RS9 zoning district. This is in the county. And it's called Rocky Branch Estates. Rocky Branch Estates. It's right at the terminus of Rocky Branch Road here. It's a 22.71 acre site, and it is completely surrounded by RS9 to the west and south and east, and then there is one RM8S townhome development just to the north of the site. And north is to the right on this orientation. You can see the overall site is largely bounded by the tributaries to, I believe that's Lowry Mill Creek. It's well below 24% maximum, so no active stormwater management is required. And those stream features, along with a power transmission line in the flood zone, did limit the site for any potential interconnectivity. And again, this is kind of more zoomed in. You can see they're showing the centralized active open space here, the required sidewalks. The site plan does meet all UDO requirements, and staff does recommend approval of this request.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Leek. Any further discussion? All those in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That's unanimous. All right.
All right, Mr. Chairman, and I will turn to Rory Howard to give the staff report for our public hearing item. Bear with me, Rory.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is case F-1392. The petitioner is Brookberry Farm LLC, bringing in the Muse at Brookberry development. The site itself is 13.53 acres at the southeast intersection of Rosewind Lane and Hunley Drive and the western terminus of Meadowlark Knoll Crossing. The petitioners are requesting a final development plan for a single-family residential use in an MUS 2-phase zoning district. So if we see here is the location of the rezoning case in the overall Forsyth County map, located in GMA 3, Growth Management Area 3, suburban neighborhoods. If we look at the location map here, we can see that the property is bounded by single-family homes to the north and the west. To the south, the property is bounded by the Reserve at Brookberry Apartments. And to the east, the property is bounded by the life care community Harmony at Brookberry Farm. If we look here at the aerial image, we can see that all the parcels surrounding the property have been developed, and the existing property has a sediment basin at the upper left-hand corner. This property falls within the West Suburban Area Plan Update, which recommends intermediate density residential, although the development falls under that density, below that density. Here's a picture looking south on Rosewind Lane, with the subject property to the left. You can see in the distance the Reserve at Brookberry Apartments. Here's a picture looking east into the subject property from Rosewind Lane. Looking west from the subject property across Rosewind Lane at single-family homes. Looking north from the subject property across Hunley Road, also at a single-family neighborhood. And finally, looking east along Hunley Road, the subject property to the right, and in the distance, you can see the Harmony at Brookberry Farm Life Care Community. So taking a little look at the proposed site plan itself, the development proposes 75 single-family homes with 17 here in the middle in a similar layout to a cottage court, accessed via private access drives in the center of the development. There are 4 new public streets, 2 private streets for the cottage courts, and 3 private alleys for the rear-loaded lots. You can also see that the property is providing a roadway connection here to the life care community to the east. You can see the developer has volunteered a 10-foot landscape buffer for the homes that are backing Rosewind Lane. There's one proposed stormwater device at the northwest corner of the site. The development has sidewalks throughout its entirety and one 9,600 square foot common recreation area included for residents, as well as a mail kiosk around the northwest portion of the property. So in summary, the request is generally consistent with the recommendations of Forward 2045 and the West Suburban Area Plan Update. The request complies with all Phase 1 zoning conditions of the Brookberry Farm development, and the proposed site design promotes livability through the inclusion of multiple open spaces and sidewalk connections, as well as the connection to the life care community to the east. Therefore, the site plan meets UDO requirements, and staff recommends approval. And I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, any questions?
The private roads that are not going to be state or government maintained, that's because I'm sure they don't meet the specifications for becoming public roads, is that right?
All private roads would still have to be built to state standards. It's more of an issue of maintenance and benefit to the community, basically, to carry that maintenance in perpetuity. That it basically, correct. Yeah, so there's basically no benefit of making those public from a maintenance/access perspective because they only serve this development.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Thank you, Mr. Howard. Before we begin our first public hearing, as a reminder, each side will have 12 minutes, and prior to beginning your remarks, please state your name, address, and zip code for the record. We'll now open the public hearing on matter F-1392. I don't have anybody signed up in favor. Is there, Mr. Causey, are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board members. Steve Causey, Allied Design, 4720 Kester Mill Road, Winston-Salem, 27103. We did work with the developer to prepare the site plan. Obviously worked with city staff, trying to make sure we met all the conditions of the Phase 1 rezoning. One note about the private roads, specifically, we needed some parking on those roads, and normally a city street doesn't allow 90-degree parking. So that was one reason in particular, but among the others. Certainly here to answer any questions. Also, Daniel Dinsbeer with Brookberry LLC is here today, so if you have any other questions, be glad to answer.
Any other questions for the proponents?
I have a question. It might be more so for the Brookberry organization. It's not about the design, but so the cottage court muse design layout or concept. Yeah. It's something we've talked about for a while, having a variety of housing types. I really just was curious about how receptive people have been to this. It's something that we have not had here in the community before, and I just wondered, are people like, oh, this is odd, or is this cool, or this is what I've been looking for? Just curious. Well, certainly we hope it meets what we've been looking for. It does provide another housing alternative. It's a smaller footprint, smaller scale home, maybe a move down type home, a single aging parent or something like that, individual. They are smaller homes, and the developer feels there is a need for that product. So yeah, we're excited to hopefully get one of our first cottage court, get it going. So
and he can certainly speak if he'd like to, but.
No, that's
Yeah,
good. Just
there's
curious.
been a lot of discussion about that. We're
Okay.
obviously excited, so.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to hear the developer. I'd like to see just his rationale, the demand, what his thoughts
Yeah.
are if possible.
Yeah.
Daniel Dinsbeer, 1540 Silas Creek Parkway. Yeah, so.
Your zip code, I'm sorry. Your zip code?
27101, I think, or 2. I'm not sure. I never write it down anymore. So, Mr. Fairby, great question. We developed a form of cottage courts in the last 2 years. We built 16 of them, and in 12 months, all of them sold out. We're developing another 12 of them right now. So what we've tried to do at Brookberry, which Brookberry has always been known as, multi-mansion, big mansion, things like that, mini mansion type of things. And yeah, we do fill that role pretty good as well. But what we've been doing is going the opposite direction a little bit. While we still do that, high-end product, we're trying to do something where we can have something for everybody. And this is an answer to that. We possibly will have some houses in the low 300s, maybe even the high 2s that we're trying, but at the same quality that we've built every Brookberry house, which is a really high quality. So that kind of answers that question for you.
Good to know.
When do you expect them to go vertical?
That's a good question. If you could work on our permitting at the city. We'll be developing this, let's see, we're August now. Hopefully we'll permit, sometime near the end of the year, first quarter of next year, probably start the infrastructure work, mid next year. So that would put us probably going vertical first quarter of 2027 maybe with some actual product.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Dinsbeer? All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Which time's left?
10.5 minutes.
All right. Is anyone else here to speak in support of this matter? All right. Seeing no one, we'll shift to those opposed to the matter. Signed up, we've got, is it Callie? Calais Runs. You can come on up. Yep.
Good afternoon. I'm Calais Runge. I'm at 5251 Shoal Creek Lane, Winston-Salem, 27106. My house is on Shoal Creek Lane, which backs up to Rose Wynn. So I am directly west of where that construction is. So the construction will impact us greatly. The area where the new homes are going has been a big dirt hill. And over the last 3 years, they have moved dirt. They've, with construction, backhoes, they've taken dirt in and out with big trucks. The trucks were not covered many times. Dirt and debris fell out, and it really came into our yards, which also then was tracked into our homes. So it's just been a dirty mess. A dirty, dusty mess. I have, during this whole 3 years, I've contacted the city numerous times. I've worked with Kent Wall. He's been great and he's gone out, inspected the sites, and then, said, okay, you guys need to go through and, follow up on some of this stuff. But it was multiple times I've had to contact him. So not being very friendly or neighborly, in my opinion, okay? I realize the homes will go. I understand that, no problem. My big concern is to really minimize the impact of the construction that is going on, because like I said, to me, they were not very neighborly and concerned about the homes that were around the area that's going to be built on. And that's it. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you. Any questions for her? All right. How much time's left?
10 minutes remaining.
10 minutes. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition? If you'd come on up and give us your name, address, and zip code, please.
Hi. Can't believe you're doing these so late in the day. Anyway, my name is Julie Kuhn. I live at 5455 Fernbank Circle. I'm in Brookberry. I'm on the outer loop of the notification area, so I'm close, but not as close as Callie is. And I've just got some general concerns as a whole for all of Brookberry's development. Now, clearly I've benefited from this whole development being put in place. I moved in late 2018, so I've been there through a lot of development on our end of the neighborhood. 5 years of Meadowlark being under construction, being very poorly managed, and I'm exceedingly concerned about infrastructure. I come from larger cities, and I know there are more resources when you come from larger cities. However, the traffic is awful. Yesterday was a disaster on Meadowlark, despite the road being done. Now, first day of school, I'll give them a little leeway there. But I feel as though we're approving, kind of with a rubber stamp, all of this development in our area without consideration of infrastructure. Some of the building that went on in my immediate area, we had flooding for years. Again, going back to insufficient infrastructure, I think. That has been corrected, thank goodness. But I'm very concerned about nearly 80 homes going into a very densely populated area. We don't have room for 150 more cars in this area. The road that Kelly backs up to, Rosewind, is very busy, and people don't pay attention to the speed limit. There's a hill and a sharp corner. People come around that corner on the wrong side of the road. Again, going back to what do we do to support the infrastructure if we're going to add this many more homes in such a tight little area? The wildlife also has been moving into the neighborhood. I now have a red fox that visits my yard on a daily basis. We have seen many more deer. We've had a black bear in the neighborhood. Not a black bear, a brown bear in the neighborhood. And so with all this development, we're also pushing all the wildlife out of their homes. And it's going into our neighborhood. So again, thinking about maybe allowing a little more green space, not allowing so much dense growth in this area. We've already got close to 1,000 homes planned in an area that can't support all the traffic and for all the things that you need with 1,000 homes. So I would just ask that the zoning committee really consider all of this development and make sure that, yeah, there's a little green space up there, but there's also going to be a lot more people, a lot more pets, many more cars, and I just feel like it's a little too dense for that small space. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone else here that would like to speak in opposition to this matter? All right. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Any questions for staff or any discussion? Mr. Erickson, could you, for the benefit of the board as well as those that are here, talk a little bit about sort of the two-phase process for this and what we're actually being asked to decide here?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. So as Chairman Grubbs mentioned, this property is what we call two-phase zoning. What that means is back in 2003, the county commissioners approved a MUS, mixed-use special site plan for the overall master planned Brookberry community. That plan covers almost 800 acres, and it included 7 different land bays, each of which had multiple pages of prescriptive conditions that described how development on each of those land bays could take place. Of course, the idea when Brookberry was approved back then was it would take multiple decades for the community to build out. And obviously, we're 2 decades along at this point, and so we're getting towards the short rows of finalizing that Brookberry development. As part of the two-phase process, once the zoning was put in place, basically the planning board serves as the final approving authority to the site plans of each phase. And the planning board is basically evaluating each phased site plan, such as the one before the board today, relative to its compliance with the Unified Development Ordinance, basically the county zoning ordinance, and those site plan phased conditions from the overall rezoning. So again, as the chairman alluded, there's not a lot of latitude that the board has to approve or deny based on design preferences, so long as the product that's put forth complies with those 2 sets of requirements that I mentioned.
Thank you.
Do you have, for each land bay as it's developed, are the current stormwater control requirements applied, or are the ones from 2003 applied?
I'll make a statement and then look to Mr. Wilson and Mr. Allred to correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is if they're exceeding what was shown in the original site plan in terms of impervious limits, then they would have to kind of meet the excess with the modern stormwater controls. So in this case, I think they've got, 64% or so impervious, so that's why they're having to develop this stormwater pond on the site plan. And what they're doing, as was alluded to by the speaker, this site was used as basically a dirt storage facility for other parts of the development, and the pond currently is a sediment basin to basically try and catch some of that dirt during rain events so it doesn't go across Hundley and into other folks' yards. But this will be converted into a permanent stormwater facility as part of this. So hopefully things will start looking a lot more attractive out here once this plan has come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, a traffic impact study is only required per land bay, not any kind of cumulative,
That's correct, Mr. Lamb, and the impacts of this land bay with only 75 units proposed, that isn't something that rose to that level.
Thank you.
That answers what I was about to ask. Thank you both.
All right.
But relative to the traffic, so the improvements to Meadowlark, of course, have been on the books for a while, were in response to or taken into consideration the size of the development as it was or as it is intended to be?
That's correct, Mr. Farabee. Certainly, planning staff, public works staff, all levels of local government staff have seen that this Meadowlark corridor has become a desirable part of the community for folks to live to and for developers to build upon. Certainly, development has continued even more to the north and more to the west than I think these road improvements were originally designed to handle. But yes, they absolutely were attempted to be sized accordingly. And as you mentioned, Mr. Farabee, due to some challenges with the contractor that was hired to complete this project, the project has ultimately taken a lot longer than was originally anticipated. So the actual design of this infrastructure took place many years ago at this point.
Right.
Any other discussion or questions?
Yeah, I'll just ask, so as time goes forward, will we take concerns about traffic issues into consideration for improvements in the future?
That's certainly something, again, as I believe Mr. Grubbs or Mr. Lamb alluded to, if a TIS was required, that would be an opportunity to kind of look at some of those things, such as, if we had a larger subdivision coming in along Meadowlark that included a TIS, there might be some enhanced turn lanes or exit lanes from the development, or there may be requiring widening that section to put a center turn lane or various other types of infrastructure improvements. But it wouldn't be entirely corridor specific, because that wouldn't pass the legal rational nexus test, because it wouldn't again, you can't expect a single developer to.
Of course.
Address the entire, yeah.
So if,
Sorry, no.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
But as long as the parcels are small enough to not trigger a TIS, we'll never look at traffic again for Brookberry.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right, because there's only a few parcels left,
yeah.
and one of them was already approved like a year ago, right, across the street
Yeah,
from Brookberry. So
yep,
we would kind of have to just
right, right.
keep beating the horn, I guess, about the traffic, because it is a real thing.
Yeah.
But the area also has developed as it was intended to be a popular,
Yep.
desirable
It's been
community
successful.
where everybody is. Now, the one plus about it is the connections to the developments and encouraging connections with future development, so everybody does not have to come straight back out to Meadowlark as they're exiting their communities.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Any further discussion? What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move the planning board find that the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Leek. Any further discussion? All those in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That's unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I further move the planning board approve F1392.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Leek. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. That's unanimous. And that brings us to our staff report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and again, good evening, good afternoon, board members. Just have a few things for staff report today. The first item that I have is we will not be having an August work session due to multiple scheduling conflicts, which I'll mention in a little bit more detail. So as you all know, the City Council passed the Forward 2045 Comprehensive Plan in November of last year. We'd been waiting for the county commissioners to hear the plan, and they were wanting to wait until a HDR economic development site selection study was completed, just so they could make sure that that study was, and the comp plan were kind of corroborating what each other were saying. That item was actually presented last month at the Board of County Commissioners, so they are now ready to act on the Forward 2045 plan. So on August 28th, which would be our work session day, at 2 o'clock, or whenever our item comes thereafter, they will be holding a public hearing. We would certainly encourage any board members who are interested, that are sad that they won't be getting a work session that day, to come and get their fill of planning by either speaking in favor of the plan or just supporting the staff with their presence. So that's certainly available to you. That evening, we will also be having another event. As Amy Crum mentioned to you at the work session, we're going to be having 5 housing choice public meetings, and you can see on the slide here that one of those is going to be at the South Fork Community Center in Winston-Salem from 5:30 to 7:30 that evening. So if you want to have a double feature, you can go to the public hearing and then get some dinner and come over to the meeting over at the South Fork Rec Center. So again, I think that's the reason why we're recommending that the board cancel the work session, but we'll defer to the wishes of the board.
So the site selection study by HDR, that's industrial?
Correct.
Okay. And that's been presented?
It has, yep.
Okay.
Yep, it was presented last month, I believe on the 24th.
Oh, okay.
And so the presentation may be available on the, I forget the name of the website, but basically where the commissioners have all their minutes and the items that are presented. If
Okay.
not, I can.
We haven't seen it though, right?
No, you haven't, yep.
Okay.
And if
Checking
you
my
want,
memory.
that's something that I can look into getting a presentation copy and sending that to the board members if
I
you
would
all
love
would
to
like
read
to
Yeah,
see that.
do that.
And maybe that's something we can talk about a little bit at a future work session.
Bottom line, was there anything in it that resulted in significant revisions to the plan?
No, that completely corroborates what the plan is saying. I will say, just as a caveat, that HDR fully admits their study is looking for low-hanging fruit. So they're looking for large, readily assemblable sites, and we have a broader economic development vision in the comprehensive plan that also includes kind of a focus on equity and bringing economic development to areas that haven't had it previously that are now opened up by the expansion of the Northern Beltway. So I think overall economic development is something that is going to be accomplished by the site study, but also on a parcel specific basis by the area plans, particularly when we look at those sites along the Beltway in the coming year. All right, the next item is Mark is going to present the September slideshow preview.
Sure. We've got 10 total items coming up next month. You can kind of see on the board. It's one general use, one limited, 2 special uses. We do have an annexation zoning conversion. That final development plan you've seen for the past 6 months, a major subdivision, and 3 new planning board reviews.
And I'm assuming there's no objection to not having a work session?
None.
I didn't hear you. I just wanted to make sure. You're going to need to rest up for that September 11th.
One other last thing I'll mention on staff report. You can see we put this image of the grounds, a project that the board approved probably six or so months ago at this point for a subdivision, basically to do some street realignments and other things. But I wanted to update the board that this project, if you've gone down University Parkway anytime in the last couple of months, you've seen huge undertakings out there. The equipment is always moving, and the new realigned Deacon Boulevard is getting very close to open, and that should be open by the end of the month. That's all signs are pointing to that at this point. I know we've got the first football game for Wake is August 29th, so we want to make sure that that's open and ready to go. So again, I just wanted to commend Front Street and Carter and Wake Forest for their collaboration on this project. It's going to be a huge enhancement to this part of the city, and again, I think everyone is really pleased that this vision has come to reality so quickly. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, we'll have our motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you.
You know, there are a lot of people happy about the grounds, but